Oh boy, so we moved into this place a few months back, and with it came 7 bikes and tons of helmets for 4 people. That's full faces and half shells. We needed a place to put all our pads and de-stinkify the pads after long days of riding. I needed a place to work on bikes. I needed some tools to work on some bikes. Mo bikes, mo problems. And after we moved in, it's sort of like the catch-all place. Like, you could barely walk through this garage. It was set up in the worst possible way. But over the last couple of months, we've been putting a ton of time and effort into this garage and choosing some really cool, interesting products, making some hacks that solve some major issues for us that we had for years. And so in my ever so humble opinion, I think we did a pretty good job on it, and so we're going to share everything with you guys and gals. So let's step into this worryingly dark garage behind me here.
Annoyingly enough, I can't find the before footage I took of the garage while it was in its original, especially terrible state. But let me tell you, you couldn't even walk through it. It was unorganized and frustrating to even look at. Here's us doing the initial tidy up anyways. Now that we had the clutter out of there, it was time to focus on the first garage hack, and that has to do with paint. Now, being that we live in the mountains, pretty high altitude, it can get quite chilly in the mornings especially. Now, this is a problem because I tend to work on our bikes in the mornings before rides, so how could I have the door open and also keep toasty and warm? Well, our solution to this issue was to essentially turn the entire wall where my tune-up area will be into a solar heater, simply by painting it matte black. So in the mornings, when the sun is low, I notice it always shine directly onto this bit of the wall. And so with a matte black coat of paint, that wall heats up really quickly, even when the air temperature is low. The other paint-related tip is to paint the back half of your garage or shed white. You see, painting the lower lit areas of your garage white helps massively with brightening up the area. It just allows light to bounce around more easily. So that was the next thing we did. The lovely vomit green cabinets needed a little love anyways. So staying on the lighting topic, one of the most cost-effective and simple ways to improve your garage is by upgrading the lighting. So here's the original setup. Despite being decently high wattage, the original bulbs were pretty dim and quite directional, so they just pointed at the floor. Now I went out and bought these. These are daylight balanced, mega bright LED bulbs with a unique folding feature that allows you to spread the light out more evenly. So I set my camera up with a locked exposure setting and locked white balance so you can have a proper sense of just how big of a difference these bulbs make. Yep, pretty big difference. Now that we can see what we're doing, let's talk bike storage. You've probably seen us in other videos running around with a pretty unique hitch-mounted bike rack. Well, this is from a company called VelociRAX. We've been loving it because of its awesome shock-dampened tilt feature that allows Beth and even our kids to load and unload the bikes. Here's a cool thing though. Every rack they sell also comes with a wall attachment that lets you use their rack in your garage as well. So you can either pull the rack off your vehicle and use that, or like us, you can get a second rack just for bike storage. We like this setup because it takes up the least amount of room possible for the amount of bikes it holds. It also installs with only 2 screws on the wall versus 14 or more for the same number of bikes. And a huge thanks to VelociRAX for sending these our way. There is a discount code in the video description that's good for the next couple of weeks, so check that one out. Now, on to tools. Every garage needs some tools, and to be honest, I barely had any before this. Until Park sent some our way. This is an absolutely incredible toolkit with every single tool you would pretty much ever need to build a bike, repair a bike, all those great things, all in one little briefcase. And that is precisely the reason why I chose this kit. Not only does it have everything you would need, it also packs down into this tiny little briefcase that you can, one, either bring with you when you're off to the bike park or out to the trails, or even better, you can just stow it away somewhere else in your garage when you're not using it. Now, back to stowability. We went out and got some hooks and ever so carefully screwed them into the newly painted wall so that we can put as many things up off the floor as possible. Pretty much everything in this garage I wanted to either be wall mountable or on wheels. And between the collapsible suitcase of tools, the collapsible workstand, and the collapsible table, it all worked out absolutely perfectly. Being that a garage is used for so many different things, I knew I definitely wanted to set it up like this so that we can move stuff out of the way and do some other things in there, like practice on the manual machine, for example. Following along on that theme, here's a really cool workbench that my dad made for me when I was actually a little kid. and I love it, but man, it's heavy as a tank. So we made a couple quick modifications to it so that we could drill on some 3-inch lockable casters. Now this does a few things. One, obviously it allows the bench to roll around freely, and two, it raised it to the perfect height for me to be working on stuff while standing up. Now that we can even get the big workbench out of the way, we could bring some bigger things in the garage if we want to. And moving right along to the next ideas, we found that cheap household towel racks work great in a few different situations. Here's one that I drilled to the workbench itself, used the bottom 2 for paper towel holder, and the top 3 for cloths. Works great and looks schnazzy. And here is yet another cheap towel rack that we're using closer to the ground, and you're probably wondering why. Well, this one's for shoe storage, and shoe ventilation really. They keep them off the floor, nice and dry. And if you happen to ride through a few creeks on your last ride, it's at the perfect height to set up a simple household fan and get it nice and dry for the next ride. Okay, this is a sore spot for me. These are our cubbies where we throw all of our own bike stuff. That's riding glasses and helmets and pads and gloves, and it is a mess. We took a couple of neat little clamp hooks from another thing that we'll show you in a bit to screw into the top of each cubby and hang our gloves off of there to keep them together, organized, and aerated. We also grabbed a couple of rubberized hooks to hang our sunglasses from. The other thing we noticed that even with the nice bright lights, it can be a little dim within those cubbies and hard to find things, so we grabbed these little stick-on lights through Amazon, and they work great. They come with a remote too. So there we go. That is looking a lot better. Next, I bought some cheap pegboard from IKEA. Put some holes into some... I then drilled a few holes into the trays that fit into that pegboard. I grabbed an old USB hub that I had for years and just never touched, and velcroed it underneath the desk. Once I wired it all together, I could put on my phone, I can charge my headlamp batteries, my camera batteries, and especially being that the tray is on the bottom, you hardly even notice the wires. Okay, I think this last one is probably one of my favorite hacks. We grabbed 2 little pulleys, put one in the ceiling, one on the side of the cubbies, and got some rope. We also had one extra rubberized hook to use, so we put that in there as well. And we did all this to create a handy little pulley system. When it comes to a family of 4, especially with 2 little dudes running around, getting all sweaty on bike rides, we thought that creating a 2-position pulley-activated pad hanging system would be just the thing. We can hang everybody's pads in the family after big long rides out at Moose Mountain or wherever we were at last. We could put our gloves on there as well if we like, even hang jerseys, and it's just so nice to be able to pull it up and out of the way. Well, there you have it. There are a whole lot of things that went into this garage build, and with a few extra little finishing touches here and there, I'm super proud of this whole garage build out. And with the help of VelociRAX and Park Tools, I don't think it could have gone any better. So I hope this video was helpful for you to give you a few tips for your own garage or shed. And if you have any tips or tricks or garage hacks that you want to put down in the comments, definitely do so. And otherwise, we will see you next week for Bike Park opening weekend. Cheers, everybody.